Hey, what's going on, everybody? Henry Kaminski here from the Passionpreneur Inner Circle and Unique Designz.net. And this is episode number 33 of the Passionpreneur video podcast. I have a special guest today. I've been working with this guy for years now. God, time flies. Dave Woodward from ClickFunnels. And you guys don't do titles over there, like you said offline. But if you guys did work with titles, you'd be the Chief Biz Dev Officer. Dave, introduce yourself to the community and to our audience for those that don't know who Dave Woodward is.
I'd love to. Again, Henry, thank you so much for having me on. This is I love your show, love what you do. Again, we've been doing business together for years now. Just super creative genius. I love what you're doing. I've been with ClickFunnels from the beginning, one of the partners, and we've just had a ton of fun building an opportunity to allow other people really the privilege of building and getting their message out. We just finished Russell's newest book launch, and we've had a ton of fun creating a massive amount of content. Obviously, the most recent book launch was Expert Secrets. Again, helping people find their message, building a tribe, and changing the world is really kind of what we did. So, sold 55,000 copies in the last 5 weeks. Did a ton of stuff in that. We've built ClickFunnels up to over 43,000 members now in the last two and a half, 3 years, and just having a ton of fun. It's really, for me, it's all about having fun and loving what you're doing.
Yeah, Dave, I can tell. I can see it in your face. Like, even in the background, when you're in the background videos with Russell, and you're so passionate about this stuff, and it just reeks. You just exude that. And I can tell you're having a lot of fun with this. And so the biggest question, the reason why I had you on the show is the biggest question I've been getting lately, and I look at you guys as masters at this and experts at this truly, because you guys really perfected this, is the content that you guys put out on various different levels, in various different channels, and in various different ways that really, really, really connect with your target audience. So if you don't mind, we're going to spend the next 25 minutes or so talking about the right content to put out. Because the biggest question I get, at least from my clients in my tribe, is like, what do I put out there? How do I connect with my audience? Like, I just don't know what it is that they want. And so can you share with us like how you guys honed in and how you guys kind of create your and craft your content to put out?
Oh, I'd love to. That's we have, as you mentioned, we have a ton of fun doing it. For one, it started off, actually probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when we really started looking at channels, and most specifically as far as creating content specific to unique channels. And we've really, after the first of this year, is where we've kind of, as you were mentioning, Henry, kind of honed that craft to identify what works best in different channels. So I kind of take a piece from Gary Vee, who's talked about it for quite a long time. And that is, go back to how things originally being, 70s, early 80s, or actually, even in early 80s, there's really primarily three networks. You had ABC, CBS, and NBC. And then all of a sudden you bring in the cable networks, and it totally changed the game. So we actually, we're talking with Tony Robbins about this just recently, about how if you look, Tony became super famous really fast because he only had three networks he had to worry about, and he bought infomercials all night long. If you were up past 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you saw Tony on all three networks, and it was real easy for him. The problem was, as soon as cable networks came out, it just diluted the channels to where he didn't know what to do. And so because of that, he really struggled for a few years there as far as how to get his message out. And that's kind of where Russell came into the picture originally with him on doing some internet marketing things 10 years ago now. But with that, we've had that conversation many times, and Gary Vee's been talking about it a lot. And so what we've seen is you have to identify the different channels that you personally want to take control of, and then where do you find your audience prefers to be as well. So take, for example, for us right now, there's three primary channels we're looking at. We've done real well on Facebook for quite some time, but we're really looking now at YouTube, and then also at Instagram. Those are the three channels you're going to see Russell and ClickFunnels on the most. We also then have a separate channel. Russell has Marketing Secret Podcast, and then I have the Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast, which you've had the opportunity to be on. Mm-hmm. So those are the channels that we're looking at. And if you want, I can kind of go into detail as far as how we create content for those channels, if that's what you'd like to do next.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, because I think people could put out hundreds of hours of content, but if it doesn't connect with their audience, it's a waste of time. So that's kind of where I want to go a little bit. Like, how are you getting so in sync with your audience where like what you're putting out is just getting swallowed and devoured and executed on and engaged with at such a high level?
Love to. So probably about 4 years ago, the idea amongst most marketers was to we would basically film a video. We would then take that video, we'd strip the audio off. The audio would become the podcast. We would transcribe it. The transcription would become the blog. We'd cut those blogs down into snippets for tweets and everything else. And so the idea originally was to take one message and one piece of content and then to just basically throw it out to as many places as possible. Mike Koenig's had a traffic geyser software that we actually used years ago, and other guys have done the same type of a thing. What we've seen recently is each network or each platform actually communicates differently. And this is one of the things why you have to pick a couple. And we started off just on Facebook. I mean, and we spent a ton of time just on Facebook and creating messages specific to that. We now, as I just mentioned, are going into Instagram and we're going into YouTube. But the first recommendation I would give to anybody is, first of all, pick just one channel. Pick one channel and get really, really good at that channel. I'm doing right now, we had our inner circle meetings about a month and a half ago, and they challenged everyone to go out and do a Facebook Live every single day for 30 days. And again, I know you're part of our inner circle, Henry, and it's been one of the things for us that as I did that, it was really kind of, I mean, we do it, as you mentioned, we do a ton of content here, but I really took it as a challenge to myself. And I challenge all your users to do the same thing. And that is do a Facebook Live every single day for 30 days and try to keep your messages short. Most Facebook Lives don't do too well much over about the 5-minute mark. People just kind of get burned out on that. So if you can be in the 2 to 3 minutes, same type of thing as far as YouTube, that's where we get most of our viewers and stuff. But the idea there is to get very good at creating your stories and become a master storyteller. Henry, it's one of the things I love about what you're doing here. You're a master storyteller as a human being. I love the way you tell stories. I know you do a ton of Facebook Live yourself.
I appreciate that, especially coming from you.
Well, thanks. But I can tell you that the thing that you do so well at, you're very engaging. And I think that's the thing people have to understand is you have to be engaging. We actually had the conversation just yesterday. We had our 2 Conflict of Coaching here in our office, and we were talking about the importance of getting your message out to people and realizing that I was with Russell when we did our first infomercial. Gosh, it was about 6 years ago now. Totally bombed. I mean, totally bombed. We lost hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to pull this thing together. We put it on Facebook Live just recently and just showed some of the stupidness behind it. But the one thing we learned from that was the host said, hey, when you're on TV, you've got to be not at this level here. You've got to be way, way up here, and it'll actually appear like it's down here. And I see the same thing on Facebook. Man, you got to go all in. You got to just throw a ton of enthusiasm and energy out there, because when you watch it back, it's not going to come off as enthusiastic and energetic as you want. So the first thing I tell you is when you're creating content, make sure that you're very engaging, enthusiastic, and just throw your whole, again, Passionpreneur, what an awesome title. It's all about passion. Let people feel that. They want to connect with you. That's the one thing we've seen from communities out there is everybody wants to connect. So I tell you, do a Facebook Live every day for 30 days, and then make sure you got a ton of content, that you got a lot of energy into it. Once you've mastered Facebook, and again, if you're not going to do Facebook, do Instagram or stories, whatever it might be, but do one channel first. The second thing I would say then is when you start looking at, your question earlier was, how do you connect with those people? The reason I like Facebook so well is you can get comments. And I would encourage people to ask, if you're liking this, share this. If you don't like this, tell me why. Be very open, be very vulnerable. I actually I know we were talking earlier just about the importance of that authentic voice, and you've had people on your other podcast basically saying how important authenticity is. Make sure that people are seeing that. Don't be afraid to show some of your weaknesses and stuff. That's the second thing I tell you is you got to be authentic, and that'll lead me into our next platform, which is YouTube. So for YouTube, we've created Funnel Hacker TV. Tonight is our first episode. It's all about Anthony DiClementi's biohacking community. And so we've got this big thing. And one of the things, it's an hour-long episode. And so we thought, gosh, how are we going to get people to watch an hour-long episode? And so what we decided to do is we actually thought we would do a lot of behind the scenes first. And so for the last 3 weeks now, you've seen Russell literally walking around with his video camera, filming a whole bunch of stuff. And then we've got an editor who basically takes all that video and puts it together into a behind the scenes snippet, which is about 10 to 12 minutes long. Super engaging, super captivating. And that's one of the main things we're seeing is when you're looking at YouTube, people are going to YouTube for entertainment as much as, so YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google. So they're going in there for how-to stuff for sure. But what seems to get shared the most is entertainment. So I highly, again, Casey Neistat, love the guy. If you haven't seen Casey Neistat's videos, you got to check his video style out. He's extremely engaging, amazing videographer. You don't have to be that over the top as he is with it, but you got to be engaging. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to share your content. So what I first basically say is do a Facebook Live every day for 30 days, ask people questions and get the feedback and make sure they're sharing it. Then go ahead and dive into another platform if it's going to be YouTube. Instagram for us, Henry, is one we're really struggling with. Instagram, we started off on Snapchat, thinking Snapchat was going to be where we were going to go. We just couldn't build an audience. There was no way of connecting and bringing people in. So we left Snapchat and we went to Instagram. We're using Instagram for Instagram stories. And what we started off doing was just the stories. And what we realized is if you're going to be on Instagram, you also have to have the pictures. And so you have to do both. You've got to do Instagram stories and you have to do the pictures behind it. The one main thing on Instagram, if you're going to use Instagram for content, is you really need to connect with influencers. The more influencers that you can connect with, and you're buying your way in. There's no other way about it. And that is you're buying, basically, they're going to go out and they're going to share your content for you. And that's the easiest and best way of doing it. I know a lot of people have tried to play the game of, I'm just going to follow a ton of people. They're going to follow me back. That worked about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It just doesn't work anymore. They've caught on in that game. So the other thing I would tell you is connect your Instagram account with your Facebook account so that you can go back and forth between the two. So that'd be the other piece I tell you.
Yeah, I definitely want to help you out with your Instagram game. I've been on Instagram now 3.5 years, basically learned from the experts, the pros. I got a really, really awesome program that I'm going to talk to you about. Awesome. It's called InstaJam. Big shout out to Jeremy McGreevy. Not McGreevy. I can never pronounce his last name, but InstaJam. I've been using it now for a couple of weeks and just out of control. Finally, a software that isn't spammy, isn't going to get you in trouble, I've seen a tremendous increase in my engagement and my following and just the interaction in general. InstaJam is definitely going to be the game changer. I'm telling you right now. So definitely go check that out. I think it's like instajam.com. Go check it out. I mean, it literally just launched and I was like, I love Jeremy because he's so authentic and his heart is such in the right place. I was like, I'm going to just back everything that you do. He mentioned me in his book and stuff. I was like, dude, I got to repay you somehow. I got to buy some of your stuff. But I tell you, man, awesome platform. Go check it out. But yeah, I mean, not every platform is as easy to grow on as others. Now, let's dive in a little bit deeper. I just checking time. We got plenty of time. Okay, so now you gave some awesome actionable steps. I mean, I back that up 100%. Now, connecting with your audience with that content that you said, you want to create content that's shareable. Now, how does one develop the type of content? I should say the concepts, maybe for lack of better words, is how do you develop that? Like, how does Russell know to talk about storytelling and how important that is to building, your business?
Great question. I could tell you that probably the easiest way of doing that is we've gone back and forth a lot on this question. A lot of questions we get from Inner Circle members, from our other users and stuff. I can tell you for us, it really started off literally by keeping an inventory of stories. And I highly recommend you just start writing down an inventory of stories. Russell's most recent book, Expert Secrets, talks a lot about epiphany bridges and helping people overcome things. I can tell you as the thing that people connect with the most is something that's going to help them basically overcome their fears. And so what we find is any story that you have that either helps them overcome their fears. In fact, let's see if I can find the question. We were talking about this earlier as far as the ability to basically throw rocks at your neighbors and friends. It's the one sentence persuasion thing out of Russell's book. I literally just had this conversation the other day, and that is 5 different things. So if you can basically look at stories that are going to either basically justify people's failures, allay their fears, throw rocks at their enemies, confirm their suspicions, or encourage their dreams, those 5 things are right there. That is what matters most. I can tell you it's been the funniest thing, only because we've been trying to find out what resonates and what do people connect with. Those are the 5 things we find that people connect with the most. And helping people, basically anything that really helps them connect with their dreams, overcome their fears, throw rocks at their enemies, all that kind of stuff. That's what people want. And that's what helps them connect with you. And that's the whole reason you're sharing content, is you want people to connect with you. You know, the reason people connect so well with you, Henry, is you're so authentic and you're so real. And you've got a huge backstory. And as you've told people that backstory, it brings people to tears. I mean, seeing where you were and where you've come, that's why people they know that when they talk to Henry, what they see is what they're going to get. And there's no hidden agenda behind it. You're totally authentic, and you're trying to help people game up to that next level and help them accomplish their dreams. I mean, it's the whole reason you're doing this. I mean, you don't get paid to do Passionpreneur, but you're out there providing that content to people, and now people resonate with you, they connect with you, and when they start thinking of whether it's, obviously you do an amazing job with Unique Design and graphics and all that kind of stuff, and they come to that, but they also look to you as a visionary business leader because of all that you've gone through and because of the way in which you're able to connect with them. So, I mean, Henry, you've done an amazing job at exactly what you're asking me to do. I'd say, look at what Henry's doing, everybody, and the reason you're listening to Henry is because he's doing it right. And I recommend you guys do the exact same thing.
I appreciate that, Dave. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I want to share with another quick little thing. I was with one of my Passionpreneur members the other day, and he mentioned this website. It's called answerthepublic.com. I don't know if you guys ever checked that out. So if you type in a keyword in answerthepublic.com, it gives you this super cool, it looks like a wheel, and around the wheel, it's all the pertinent questions that people put into search engines around that keyword.
Very cool.
And so taking what you mentioned about inside of the book, those 5 things, right? And then, going into answerthepublic.com, putting in the keyword, looking at all the questions, and then pulling one out that goes with one of those 5 things in the book, grand slam, home run.
Totally.
And so
totally.
That's some powerful stuff. So I got the book, I got the VIP version of the book, and I'll tell you, it's I gotta revisit that page that you just brought up, because if any of you guys out there that are watching this are struggling with content creation, it truly is. I mean, that is such a shortcut on trying to figure out, what should I talk about today? Pick one of those 5 things, go to answerthepublic.com, look at a question, and just go at it. And awesome. and it's that simple. So, okay, so we got some actionable steps. We talked about how to create that content that gets people to resonate. Now, and let me see, this is kind of a trick question. I'm going to see what kind of answer you give me. What is the secret to really getting that content to stick? Let me see if I got my answer. I'm going to see what kind of answer you come to the table with.
So when you say stick, do you mean to be shared, or what do you mean by stick?
Oh, so to really I guess convert is the word.
Okay.
Is so, convert.
For us, it's been I'd say the first thing is We don't know. And I hate to say it that way, but that's actually why we produce so much content. Uh, the reason we do so much content is you don't know what's going to convert. Again, we've got this big show tonight with Anthony Clementi and all that kind of stuff, and we've asked him to do a biohacking tip every single day on Facebook Live and stuff. And before, if you're a biohacker, basically, Anthony's got you know rods and pins and lights all over his head and noses and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that really resonated and connected the most was how to biohack your vegetables. And we're like, what the heck is that all? But that's the one thing that really took off. And we're like, gosh, how would you have known unless you were doing content on a regular basis? So very first thing I'd say is you got to do it all the time.
Consistency. You nailed it. I mean,
I'm so worried.
I mean, you can't show up 1 week, put out a week's worth of content, and then disappear. It just that just shows that you're not in it and that you're not serious about this. And so that you nailed it. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, I totally agree. As far as the importance of that consistency, the one thing I can tell you, what we've learned recently on Facebook, you just need to be consistent on a daily. I highly recommend doing things daily. You just, even if it's short, just the more you can get out there on a regular basis, and don't even worry about exactly what you're saying, be out there. The one thing we did hear back from YouTube is on consistency is same day, same time.
Okay.
And YouTube is a little bit unique these days where people actually are they're looking literally for like a showtime. Like you would say, I'm going to go watch Designated Survivor on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock, or I'm going to watch 24 Legacy at this time, or whatever it might be, because that's when it is. And so one of the things we've seen on YouTube, and again, we just found this out last week, was the importance of making sure that if you can, do it the exact same day and same time, and people will start actually tuning in to your channel.
That's phenomenal. I mean, believe it or not, on Instagram, it's the same thing. So I do a live stream show every Monday through Friday, 11:30 Eastern. I used to do it every day, but I would do it whenever I could. And people were like, can you do these at a specific time, please? Because I really enjoy them. And I said, okay, listen to your audience. So I picked the time, 11:30 Eastern Standard, and man, I've watched the growth of that little show over the course of a couple of weeks, just compound and get bigger and get bigger and get bigger. Now there's a couple hundred people that watch it, in and out. Like, one thing that is interesting with the live stream is, you got to think about the human behavior. Like when somebody comes into a live stream, they're going to pop in, they're going to listen for a couple minutes, and then they're going to jet. And so when you understand that behavior, my live streams on Instagram are about 30 minutes long. Reason being is when I was only doing them for 15 minutes, I was only getting 60 or 70 viewers. But when I stayed that extra 15, I saw that viewership increase almost by double and triple.
Wow.
Just by hanging out, because people were popping in, popping out. Oh, Henry's still alive? Let me go pop in, see what. And then I watched that viewership go through the roof, and I go, no kidding. It was just hanging out for an extra 15 minutes that really increased that viewership. And I'll give you a quick little quick little tip here is knowing that that's how people jump in and out of the viewership. You got to continue. And this may feel a little weird, but anybody who's watched my Instagram streams, every 5 minutes or so, I will reintroduce myself and reintroduce the topic of discussion. And it's always, hey guys, it's Henry Kaminski from Unique Designz. I own a graphic design and branding firm. I help people, blah, 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 blah. And today we're talking about, and I do that 2 or 3 times in a 30-minute sprint because of those new viewers that didn't catch the beginning or the middle. And so when I see that, it keeps people engaged, it keeps people excited, and it keeps people understanding, who the hell is this guy? And why does he keep showing up every day? And that there was so extremely helpful to build that viewership up. So again, 100% agree that when you show up at a specific time and day, people are going to start to tune in. I mean, not for nothing, Dave, but I think Gary Vee is onto something. I think the television may be something of the past soon. And people are just going to be tuning in. I mean, I see it already. Like my wife just goes on her iPad in bed and just starts watching those shows when she wants to watch them.
Yeah.
And for us to be paying attention to that as marketers and stuff is a super powerful thing. So, man, you've been spot on. But yeah, being consistent with the content and putting it out there is super powerful, and it shows people how much you care.
It does.
I think at the end of the day, at the end of the day, guys, and I've been around ClickFunnels probably about 6 months after you guys actually launched. And I've been a client ever since. And one of the things, hands down, that you guys do extremely well is you show how much you care for your community and for your users.
Thank you.
And not only does Russell show, but it show that when he comes on and he does his thing, but it trickles down to the support guy that just got hired last week. And
that means a lot to us.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. And it's like, there's other platforms out there. Not, you guys are pretty awesome. But there's Lead Pages, there's these other companies, but I don't feel that caring as much as ClickFunnels cares. And that's what separates you from the competition. I mean, that's the truth. Yeah, that's the truth.
We've really studied, again, it kind of goes back, we joke around all about the idea as far as it being a culture type of a thing, as far as building a cult or whatever you might say. And people give us a whole bunch of crap. But I can tell you the one thing we've really seen is we've followed Steve Jobs a ton and Apple and the branding and all the kind of stuff that they've done. And there's a culture associated with that. You joke around about your wife by name. It's an iPad. It's not just a digital device. It's an iPad. It's an Apple product. And I know that the key here is when you start looking at creating content, you have to be polarizing. You can't be mainstream. And so we talked about this whole prolific index. You don't want to be too far way over on the right or way over on the left. You can't be in the middle either, though. You got to be able to upset people a little and segment people out. And I think I appreciate what you're saying. We made a comic book basically making fun of our competitors, Confusionsoft and Loki Pages. And that's the kind of stuff, at times it really frustrated other people. Say, oh, you can't do that. That's not fair. I'm like, listen, that's how passionate we are about what we believe. We truly believe we have a moral obligation to get this message out to the world. And I think it's what I've loved about you and your passion. Henry, you're an extremely passionate guy. I mean, no one meets you without feeling your passion. And I think that's really, you guys have to have that. You got to be able to get it. You have to feel that you have a moral obligation to get your message out to the world. And you're going to do everything you possibly can to make sure as many people who you can help, you can help.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, guys, it's not what you do, it's how much you care. And I think the reason why that my business has grown to its peak, I shouldn't say its peak, but to where it's at today, and why ClickFunnels is just crushing it, is that you guys are practicing that every single day. And I see it in your content. You're showing up every day. So Dave, I could talk to you for hours about this stuff, but I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I was going to go one way, but then when we got talking offline, I was like, no, we're going here. This is so much cooler.
Real quick, I just wanted, you probably saw me freaking out over here. The reason why is we're talking about content. I've got Russell filming me through this as well on the other side for part of our episode. So that's why I was like, hey, guess what? So you're right. You got to be producing content all the time. So I thought I'd kind of tie that in there with you and realize that I've got Russell basically filming you and I talking here. So that works.
Well, Dave, I thank you again for coming on our show. Give everybody my love over there in ClickFunnels, in the ClickFunnels office. And dude, we got to have you back on soon, man. This was a great episode. Thank you for all the actionable steps and sharing your experience and just tremendous value in this episode. So appreciate it.
My pleasure. Anytime at all. Henry, again, thanks for all you're doing. I love the message you're getting out to the world. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Guys, that's it. It's episode number 33 in the books. Again, my name is Henry Kaminski from the Passionpreneur Inner Circle and uniquedesignz.net, and I will catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys. Have an awesome day.